In our last video, we studied about ideal gas equation. We also said that ideal gases are those which obey Boyle's law, Charles' law and Avogadro's law. Today we will see about real gases. Today we will study about real gases. Real gases are those which do not obey Charles' law, Boyle's law and Avogadro's law under all conditions of temperature and pressure. But under certain conditions, these laws are obeyed. So let us understand why real gases or most of the gases which do not behave ideally, why they show deviation from ideal behavior. What is the reason behind it? Why it happens that certain gases deviate from ideal behavior. So that is the topic for today. We have written ideal gas equation PV is equals to nRT. I also taught about Boyle's law, in which the pressure and the volume are inversely proportional. We have cross multiplied this, removing the sign of proportionality and writing it as PV is equals to constant. What this means to say is that as the pressure increases, volume decreases, which is common sense. Suppose we had a container fitted with a piston, and if we increase the pressure on it and move the piston down, the volume becomes less. So as pressure increases, volume becomes less. But the product of pressure and volume will always remain constant. It is like having 8 into 3, that is 24. But now let me reduce this value of 8 and bring it down to 4. If I have to keep this product constant, then this second quantity with which I have to multiply 4 has to increase, has to be more than 3, and that becomes 6. So you will find that this quantity has reduced, whereas this has become more, but the product has remained same. Similarly, when we talk of pressure and volume, the product will always remain constant. As pressure increases, volume will decrease, keeping the product constant. If we plot this product of pressure into volume versus pressure, then for ideal gases which obey this equation, we should get a straight line parallel to the x-axis. But we find that the graphs for different gases show different behavior. That means these gases do not obey ideal gas equation. They deviate from ideal behavior. You will see that there are two types of graphs. One graph you will see is going straight upwards for hydrogen and helium. You will see that it is showing a positive slope, always going in the upward direction. But if you look at the graph for carbon monoxide, then as the pressure increases, you will find initially there is a decrease. This decrease becomes minimum for a certain value of pressure which is independent of the nature of the gas. Which is dependent on the nature of the gas, independent of pressure and temperature. So each gas is going to show a different value of minimum. Then as you increase the pressure further, the graph will show an increase, and it will increase drastically as the pressure increases. So there are two types of graphs that are seen. That means there are two types of behavior of gases. Those in which the product of pressure into volume increases with pressure, and the second one is initially as pressure increases, that means at low pressures, the graph will show a decrease. It will have a minimum value, and then with increase in pressure, the graph will increase continuously. This is what is called as deviation from ideal behavior. So this is what we see. Two types of deviation. If you have seen the graph of Boyle's law, we have plotted the graph for Boyle's law, that is P versus V. Then we have said that the graph should be a curve. This is ideal gas. But real gas that we just saw for hydrogen, for carbon monoxide, for methane, the real gases will not show this graph. Instead, I have shown one dotted line here. The nature of the graph is same, the curve is same, but it is not coinciding with the graph for ideal gases. If you look at this graph very carefully, you will find that the behavior at low volumes is different than for high volume. So we are plotting volume on the x-axis. If you look at this point P, so I will write it as P1. Let us look at this point P1. P1 is high pressure, and let us draw lines vertically down. Then this becomes volume of ideal gas, which I write as Vi, and this is the real curve, the curve for the real gases, and this is the volume occupied by the real gases. So when the pressure is high, we will find that the volume occupied by real gases is more than the volume occupied by ideal gas. Now what we understand by this? Let us take a simple example. Suppose we have ideal gas occupying 20 liters at a certain temperature T, say at room temperature. But if you put the real gas into it, then instead of 20, it will occupy 20.2 liters. It will occupy a larger volume. It will not fit into this 20 liters. It will require more space. That means here there is more repulsion. There are repulsive forces. There are repulsive forces which are predominant at high pressures. So when the pressure is high, repulsive forces will predominate, and they will not allow the molecules to come close. They will push them away, and therefore in real gases, the volume occupied by the real gas will be larger in comparison to the volume that an ideal gas would have obeyed, and this is what is clear from this graph. This is called as positive deviation from ideal behavior. Now let us look at this part of the curve. You will find that the graph for the real gas is very close to the graph for the ideal gas. That means when the pressure is low, let us look at this point now. Let us look at this point P2. When the pressure is low here, you will find that the difference between the ideal gas and the real gas is negligible. So real gases show behavior very similar to ideal gas. That means the deviation is less. But if you look at it very closely, then you will see that now at this point pressure P2, when the pressure is very low, let us look at the volume, and the volume is very high. Then this is the curve that is cutting this line at P2, which is real for the real gas. So this is V real, and this is the point where the ideal graph is cutting this line matching with P2. So this is V ideal. Now the property has reversed. Now you will find that real gases are occupying less volume as compared to ideal gases. But the difference is small. Here the difference is large, appreciable. So that means at high pressures there is more deviation. Whereas as the pressure becomes low, the gases will try to behave ideally. But yet you will notice that V real is smaller than V ideal. Again, let us take the same example. If ideal gas would have occupied 20 liters, real gas would have occupied 19.8 liters. It would require slightly less space. Now why it would require less space is because here attractive forces would have been predominant. predominate. And because attractive forces predominate, they will come closer as compared to the real gases. And therefore, their volume of real gases will be less than that of ideal gases. And this is what is called as negative deviation from ideal behavior. But as pressure becomes very, very low, real gases will behave ideally. So this is the experimental facts that are observed which show that real gases do not obey ideal gas equation. So the question now arises, why gases don't behave ideally? Why certain gases don't behave ideally at all temperature and pressure? Why they behave ideally only under certain conditions? That's one question. Second question is, what are the conditions under which a real gas will behave ideally? So we need to answer this. And to answer this, we must know the postulates of kinetic theory of gases. There were two faulty postulates of kinetic theory of gases. The first faulty postulate was there is no force of attraction between the molecules of the gas. This was one postulate that was absolutely incorrect. If there was no force of attraction, then ideal gases and real gases would have had the same volume at high pressure. That's one. Second, the molecules, they have their own, molecules of real gases are big enough. They are rigid spheres. Whereas in case of ideal gases, they are point size. So for ideal gases, we say the molecules are point size. Their size is very, very small as compared to the volume of the container. So if we collect all these molecules of ideal gas and put them in some place, then the space occupied by all these molecules would be negligible as compared to the volume of the container. That is what kinetic theory of gases says, that the particles are all identical, they are large in number, they are very far away, there is a lot of empty space between them, and the molecules, their volume can be neglected as compared to the volume of the container. And that's because the ideal gases, their particles are considered to be point size. But when it comes to real gases will have molecules which are bigger in size. So when the pressure is low, the volume is very large. So suppose the volume was as big as this room, then you can neglect the volume of the molecules as compared to the volume of this room. But when you come to high pressures, that time the gas is going to be present in a small space. And if you collect all this and put them in some corner, then their volume cannot be neglected. The volume of these particles cannot be neglected. It's quite appreciable. So the volume of the container will not be equal to the volume of the gas. So when we say a gas is taken in a 20-liter flask, we mean to say that the gas occupies 20 liters. But now when you are considering it at a high pressure, so you have pressurized it, now the pressure is, the volume is not as big as the room, it has come down to a very less space. That time the volume of the molecules will be appreciable, and therefore the available space for movement will be the volume of the container minus the volume of the molecules. So volume of these molecules of real gases, which are considered as rigid spheres, cannot be neglected, especially when the pressure is high. When the pressure is low, the volume is large, that time the molecules will be far away from each other, that time their volume can be neglected. So under certain conditions, real gases will show ideal behavior. So let us understand all this. Let us understand these 2 points. So as I said, real gases obey ideal gas equation only under a certain condition of temperature and pressure. So we are understanding why gases deviate from ideal behavior and under what conditions the gases will behave ideally. So as I said, there are two faulty assumptions in the kinetic theory of gases. The first one is that there is no force of attraction between the molecules. If there was no force of attraction, the gases would not have liquefied at all. Remember, to liquefy, the molecules have to come close. And when they come closer and closer, the attractive forces will be so much that they will get converted to liquid. So, this theory of kinetic theory of gases assumes that there is no force of attraction. So, that is a faulty assumption. Secondly, according to this theory, the volume of the molecules of the gas is neglected. As I said, in ideal gases, it is considered as point charges. In those circumstances, yes, we can neglect it. When the pressure is very low, the volume is very large, that time also we can neglect it. But when the pressure is high, that time for real gases, the molecules are big enough, they are rigid in sphere. So when the pressure is high, the volume is low, that time their volume has to be taken into consideration. So these were two faulty assumptions. So it says that if postulate 1, if this one was correct, then gases would never liquefy. So gases are liquefied. And once they are liquefied, then you can't put more pressure and squash them together, because then repulsive forces will predominate. So if you have a liquid, then you can't put more pressure on it. There is a certain limit, because then you would squash those molecules together, which doesn't happen. So also liquids cannot be compressed. Means there is a force of attraction, there is a force of repulsion. So when they come very close, repulsive forces predominate. Remember, repulsive forces are short range forces. They come into action when the molecules are quite close. So that would, liquids cannot be compressed, is again indicating that repulsive forces become predominant when you have a very high pressure and very low volume, indicating that this assumption was faulty. Secondly, if this assumption was correct, then the graph of P versus V, which we just saw here, it is like this, P, V is like this. For ideal and real gases, it would have coincided. But we found that the graph doesn't coincide. It coincides only at a certain point. At high pressures, there is a large difference between real volume and the ideal volume. Whereas when the pressure is very low, that time somewhere close. So that would have coincided. And at high pressures, the molecules are close and they exert a force of attraction with each other, and they hit the walls of the container with less force. Now that is what is called as pressure. So let us understand that gases exert a pressure. What is the principle? What is the reason? How is it that the pressure is exerted by gases? Remember, gases are in constant random movement in straight line. That is what we have said in kinetic theory. So when a gaseous particle is present, it will hit the wall of the container. These particles will hit the wall of the container because they are moving in straight line. They will bounce back. The collisions are elastic. But when they hit the wall of the container with a certain force, then the force per unit area will give us the pressure of the gas. In case of ideal circumstances, let us say the force with which it is hitting the surface is say 20 Newton. So force per unit area will be 20 Newton meter square. But now in case of real gases, what happens is the molecules that are present around it will also exert a force of attraction on this molecule and they will drag them behind. So attractive repulsive forces will drag this molecule behind, and the force with which it is hitting the wall will no longer be 20 now. It will become less. So the pressure exerted by real gases will be less than that. So ideal gases will have a higher pressure than that of real gases. Because in real gases, there is a drag of the molecules which are present around it, which will pull it behind, and the force with which they will hit the walls of the container will be less. So, in this ideal gas equation, here we are talking of P ideal. But in real gases, this P ideal will not match with P real. P real will be less. Volume is ideal. But in real gases, this volume will be the volume of the container minus the volume of the molecules. So, a correction is needed for both these terms. And that is what was proposed by scientist Van der Waal. And he gave two correction factors so that he could explain this behavior of real gases which does not match with ideal gas. So let us read. At high pressure, the molecules are close and exert a force of attraction on each other, and hence they will hit the wall of the container with less force. Therefore, the pressure of ideal gas will be more than that of the pressure of real gases. So as I said, in ideal gas equation, this is the pressure term of the ideal gas, which doesn't match with the real one. So if we have to explain deviation, then we require a correction factor here. Correction factor for volume also needed. So let us read further. Hence, a correction factor for pressure term is needed. Okay. Now when we talk of this pressure term, what is the correction we will bring about? The correction term should include a measure of force of attraction. So that term which we are going to add to this value should include force of attraction. So it should tell you that whether the force of attraction is more, it is less, so that it will match with the ideal behavior. So that is required, which is a measure of force of attraction between the molecules. And that will in turn depend on concentration. And we have learned that concentration can be expressed as number of moles of gas upon volume of the gas. So that is number of moles is N, volume of the gas is V. So the correction term for this pressure term will be pressure of the ideal gas is equal to pressure of real gas, which is less. So I have to add a term, that is A N square upon V square. This is the correction term that has to be added to this value because this is smaller. So if I have to equate it, then I have to add something here so that this and this becomes equal. So this is the correction factor added to the pressure of real gas, which is less because the force is less, and it is a measure of the force of attraction in the molecule, which in turn is dependent on concentration. Now here A is Van der Waals constant, and it is going to depend on nature of the gas independent of the pressure. So this is what I have written here. N is number of moles, V is the volume, A is Van der Waals constant. This is the correction factor. Correction factor depends on nature of the gas independent of pressure and temperature. So we have seen the correction factor for the pressure term. Now let us look at the volume. As I said, the volume of the gaseous molecules cannot be neglected at high pressure. As I said, if the pressure is low, the volume is large, the molecules are far apart, and in case of ideal gases, they are point charges. But when there are real gases, the molecules are big enough and they are far away. But when you pressurize this, when you bring the pressure down, then these molecules will come closer. See now, you have increased the pressure at high pressures. Now, if I bring all these molecules and put them in one corner, you will see that they are going to occupy more space. You can't bring them still closer because they cannot be squashed. So now the available space for movement has reduced, has become less. So this volume has become appreciable. So we are going to express it in terms of size of the molecule. And that is given by the term van der Waals constant. B is van der Waals constant. B and N is number of moles. So now this volume has to be minused from the volume of the container. That will be the correction for volume in ideal gas equation, which is what I have written here. So at high pressure, the volume of the molecules cannot be neglected. So volume of the gas which is available for free movement is equal to volume of container minus the volume of the gas, which is given as N, that is number of moles, and B is van der Waals constant. Again, that will depend on the size of the molecule. Bigger the size of the mole, bigger is this factor. Correction factor, again this is the correction factor. NB is correction factor for volume, and this is what we have to use in our ideal gas equation to explain deviation for real gas. So that was given by van der Waals equation for real gases. This is the pressure term, this is the volume term with the correction is equals to nRT. Now we have to understand under what conditions. So that was the answer that was remaining to be a question that was remaining to be answered. So we answered two questions. Why real gases deviate from ideal behavior? We have answered it. We said there were two faulty assumptions, and for that reason the pressure term and the volume term had to be corrected in ideal gas equation. Now the question is, under what conditions will real gases behave ideally? As I just told you, when the pressure is low, the molecules are far away, the force of attraction is less. So this term, volume is large, so this term becomes very small, it is neglected. So P ideal, P real will match. And when the volume is so big, the molecules, their volume can be neglected, and this term will match. So gases will behave ideally at low pressures and high temperatures. Remember, when the temperature is very high, the kinetic energy of the molecules is so much, they will be far away, they will overcome the force of attraction, they will start moving energetically, and therefore at high temperatures, when the force of attraction becomes negligible, ideal gases and real gases will show similar behavior. So real gases will behave ideally because the volume will be so large that the volume of the molecules can be neglected, and the force of attraction also can be neglected. So we have answered all the questions. We have explained why gases deviate from Raoult's law, and correction factor was proposed by van der Waals with this equation. Now there is another way of explaining deviation from ideal behavior, and that is by a factor called as compressibility factor Z. So we have PV is equals to nRT, compressibility factor will be PV upon nRT. This ratio of PV versus PV by nRT is called as compressibility factor, and as the word indicates, compressibility factor means ease of compression. If you can easily compress the gas, that means Z value 1, ideal behavior. Z can be greater than 1, okay, or Z can be less than 1. So we will plot a graph, which I have already plotted here. The graph shows Z plotted on y-axis and pressure plotted here. So if it is ideal, it will be a straight line parallel to the x-axis. But in some cases like hydrogen, Z will increase continuously. So Z greater than 1. This is called positive deviation from ideal behavior. In case of nitrogen, you will find that the curve is like this. If you look at the curve for nitrogen, you will find that at low pressures, it is touching this line. And then as the pressure increases, it's becoming more. So that means nitrogen shows ideal behavior at low pressures. As the pressure increases, it will show deviation and it will show positive deviation from ideal behavior. Now let us look at the graph for oxygen. As the pressure increases, it is showing a dip. That means Z value less than 1, negative deviation from ideal behavior. It is reaching a minimum value and then it is increasing. So as pressure increases, you will find that again it will cut this line here showing ideal behavior at a particular point and then positive deviation from ideal behavior. So it is showing both. It is showing negative deviation at low pressures and positive deviation at high pressure. And so also is the graph for methane, which is going to decrease, it will show a dip and then it will show an increase as the pressure increases. So in all cases, what you have to note is as pressure increases at high pressure, gases will not show ideal behavior. Gases will behave ideally at low pressures. Okay, so that's what I have written here for ideal gas, Z equal to 1 because PV is equals to nRT. When Z is 1, ideal gas equation. But as I said, at low pressures also Z will be very close to 1, which is what I showed here. And at high pressures, as I said, Z will be greater than 1, which you can see in all these cases. As pressure increases, they are all going in the upward direction. So we have understood that at low pressure and high temperature, gases will show ideal behavior. Now let us understand what is boil temperature. Boil temperature or boil point is the temperature at which real gases obey ideal gas equation over a range of pressure. Now let me explain this one. Let us take nitrogen gas and plot isotherms. Now I already told isotherm is a graph where we are plotting a graph at constant temperature. So we are plotting Z, this is Z and this is pressure. This is Z equal to 1, ideal behavior. For nitrogen, at a certain temperature, it will show a graph like this. At another temperature, the isotherm will show like this. And at this is at T1, I'll call this as T2, and at T3, it may show something like this. So at different temperatures, the same gas is showing different behavior. You will notice that at this point, for this temperature T2, there is a range of pressure at which nitrogen will show ideal behavior. Then that temperature is what is called as boil temperature or boil point. So that is definition of boil point. Now we should understand that above boil point, it will show positive deviation. Below boil point, it is showing negative deviation from ideal behavior. Above boil point, above boil temperature, it is going to show Z greater than 1. So positive deviation. And in positive deviation, we will find that the repulsive force is predominant. Below boil point, below boil temperature, Z less than 1, negative deviation, and that is because attractive force is predominant. Now we can also define Z in a different way. Just now we have written Z is equals to, we have written that Z is equals to PV upon nRT. So for ideal gases, Z equal to 1, that means PV is equals to nRT. Now here this is ideal. So V is equals to nRT upon P. This is for ideal. But when it comes to real, then we can write that P upon V upon nRT is equal to Z. So here we are talking of real and ideal. Now if you look at this ratio at a certain pressure, then we can substitute for this, and in place of this we can write V ideal. So compressibility factor can also be written as the ratio of molar volume of real gases upon molar volume of ideal gas. So that was all about deviation from ideal behavior that we had to learn.